we're here to install a kill switch on a guitar, and I have a friend of mine's guitar here, Ibanez, very cool guitar. It's gotten a lot of rave reviews from old dudes at shows, hasn't it?
Yep.
But anyway, so we're going to install this kill switch, and he picked it up on, I don't know, Amazon. And the big thing that you want to do is you want to get one that is normally open, right? That's what I said? Yeah. So normally open. So the circuit stays open. Then when you press it, it connects the two lugs, so that completes the circuit and all that. So it's normally open. You press it and it closes the circuit. So anyway, the first thing that we need to do is figure out where to put it. So we had looked at this guitar, and I, felt that it was a good candidate because we have a fairly big little opening in the back here. So, you can see the size of this, and it's the switch in these two. So, maybe right here in the middle or something would be a good spot for it. That way we don't have to drill any holes or anything. So the first thing is, where do you think you might want to put it, Cam?
Right there.
Right there. Sounds like a great option. Do you want to put it directly between them? Or if you put it a little bit down, it just gives you a little extra distance away from the knobs. Okay. So what we're going to do is put a little piece of masking tape. Actually, we'll put 2 pieces of masking tape. Because not only are we going to sort of test fit where it might go, and then you can, actually strap the guitar on and see if it's a good spot where you want it, because maybe when you're playing it, we might be like, oh, that's sort of in the way, so if we moved it further away, this isn't in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that you're going to use your finger and your hand, we might not want it perfectly equidistant. We might want to, whatever.
Probably like a little bit like right there, because the tone out.
Well, you know what? We're going to figure it out. Okay, so we need a pen. I have a pen. Okay, so you're thinking down here a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's, I don't know, a little smaller than a dime. So let's see how good my circle drawing skills are. That's not so bad. Okay, so we did this. So what I'm just checking is, okay, it seems like there's plenty of room from the edge, from the edge of the guitar. See, it looks like it's, I don't know, a little over, maybe 3/8 of an inch, a little over 1/4 of an inch. So that's plenty. So he's going to try it on and just see if that's a good spot for him. So we'll be right back. So we checked it out, and that was a good spot. Then we opened it up, and there's a big chunk of wood here. So we're going to need to move it a little further away from the edge. So we came up with that being a good spot. And then it dawned on me, we should probably do this the smart way. So I put some tape on the inside, and I'm going to use this because this is the largest part of the whole switch. It's going to be on the inside, because if we're, like 1/8 of an inch too close to that chunk of wood, we won't be able to get this on. So I'm going to put this in, kind of figure out a good spot for it. Good spot for it. Put a little dot that's going to be the center. Okay, so see, that's now going to be the center of it. Okay, so it's probably going to be, if my estimating is good, probably right about there. So that's actually pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to move it a little further away from this?
That's fine.
Okay. So now we need to drill. And of course, I've learned over the years that my wife doesn't really like me doing all this crazy stuff in the house because it makes a mess. So, the box. See that? Ta-da. Okay, so first, of course, I'm going to use a smaller drill bit, you know, because if we just start, it's probably going to skitter around, and it's definitely going to, you know, chip wood and stuff. So we'll do this. Just sort of. Okay. That's the point of no return now, because we just put a hole through the front of the guitar. Look at that! Pretty darn close to the position that I guesstimated. Okay. So now we need to use like a, you know, I think what are they, Forstner bits or something? Okay. We need to find the right drill bit. I have a 1/2 inch, but this is obviously bigger than a 1/2 inch, so we'll get the right one and we'll be right back. So, I didn't have the right drill bit, so we ran to the local hardware store, picked up the right size. It's 5/8. I checked it by drilling into a piece of wood just to make sure, because with this screw, with the threads on this push button, the hole has to be bigger than the threads, but smaller than that little tiny lip on the top. So, we're going to drill through the top. The tape is going to try to help to keep chipping to a minimum and drilling through the top. Because if we drill through the bottom, you know, the other side, and punch through, it's going to, you know, I did that from the other side too. It'll, you know, all kinds of chipping. If there's chipping inside, that doesn't really matter. So, just very carefully, and especially at the beginning, because we're cutting through the finish. So we don't want to chip too much. And go through the finish. So I'm just going to double check, because we don't want to, there's a wire right there. I'm going to try not to punch through that wire. Let's see what happens. And the wire popped right out the bottom. Perfect. Okay. The wire popped right out the bottom. That's wonderful. Okay, so we'll solder that back in. You know, we'll solder in a longer wire. Okay, so just kind of clear out the wood chipping and whatnot. Fit in there. Look at that. Perfect. Bam. And okay. So we just need to screw this in and everything. So we'll be right back. So it's been an unexpectedly long couple of hours, but we are now 2 solder connections away from being finished. So of course what I did was I Googled and drew my little drawing. It looks sort of like a space alien, like weird. But anyway, so the switch is going to go to 2 terminals on the volume knob on the inside. The middle terminal, the middle lug, is the one that goes to the output, and the other lug is going to ground. So the way that this switch is going to work is when we connect it, one's to ground and one's to the hot output. Okay? So since this switch is normally open, it's just 2 wires just soldered on, not connected, so nothing happens. Then as soon as we press the button, the hot output is now connected to ground. So the output of the whole guitar goes to ground and nothing comes out to go to the amp. So that's how it's, you know, stopping the whole thing, stopping the whole signal. So let's do our 2 little solder. And it doesn't matter which goes to which, because inside this switch, it's just basically 2 connections. And when you press the switch down, they connect. So there's no, you know, like left or right side or, you know, anything. It's just they're connecting or not connecting. So it doesn't matter. So one of them to ground. And I've already tinned the ends of these wires. And I've put them into little screw terminals. Cam, it was very nice that you got the ones with the screw terminals. That was very handy, so that we didn't have to solder onto the switch. You're a really thoughtful kid, you know that? Okay, so the ground on the back of the pot takes a minute or 2 just because there's a whole lot of metal to heat up for the solder to connect to. So it takes a minute or 2. I think we're getting it. Good, there we are. Okay, so one side of the switch is connected to ground, and now this connects to, and it just came unconnected. So it wasn't melted in enough. We'll melt it again. Make sure that we breathe in all the fumes. Hot solder fumes. Okay, that's definitely on. Just gonna lift that up out of the way. And now I'm gonna connect this to the hot output, which is this little middle lug. And this should be much faster. My head's probably in the way of the camera. Sorry, everyone at home. Okay, so as far as we know, it's all done. So before we put the back on, we're going to test it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and I'm going to put the soldering iron far away from my clumsy arms and knees, and all that. Okay, so we'll be right back. We're going to test it, so that way if it fails, it's not all on YouTube. So we have it all wired up. I checked and I didn't screw anything else up inside the guitar, like, wire the volume backwards or something. So it all works, and the kill switch works perfectly. So take it away, Cam. Turn the volume all the way up. There you go. Okay. So. Oh, thank you. That's very thoughtful. Okay, so Cam, you'll have to practice with that a little bit because seemed a little sketchy. But that's all right. First time with it. So, are you happy?
Yep.
Awesome.